Below is the dialogue rewritten as a single-person speech, maintaining the core narrative and details, but presenting it as if one individual is explaining everything to an audience. Buckle up, because today I'm going deep into the world of generative agents. These are incredibly fascinating AI entities that can learn and adapt their behavior over time. You can think of them like supercharged characters in a video game, not controlled by a human player or dictated by a simple script, but powered by large language models. They don't just spit out preset dialogue, they actually respond, remember past interactions, form opinions about others, and can even plan their day. This level of realism and complexity is a whole new frontier. The research I'm referring to is found in a paper called Generative Agents, Interactive Simulacra of Human Behavior. In it, the researchers created a virtual world called Smallville, something like a simplified version of The Sims. There's a town with common locales, a cafe, a park, houses, stores. But instead of you controlling the characters, these generative agents live their own lives and make their own decisions. Each agent was given a backstory described in natural language, much like telling a story about a person. For example, there's John Lin, a pharmacy shopkeeper who is always willing to go the extra mile for his customers. He has a family, his wife is a college professor, and his son is studying music. All of these details matter because they're written into the agent's memory and inform how he behaves and interacts with the world. The big question is, how do these backstories translate into actual behavior? This is where the concept of a memory stream comes into play. Each agent maintains a constantly updating log of everything they experience, recorded in everyday language. This memory stream is not just a list of recent lines in a conversation. It's a rich, long-term record of observations, interactions, and emotions. It can affect what the agent does next. If John witnesses an argument in the park, that incident goes into his memory, potentially influencing how he treats those individuals in the future. This leads to a fascinating retrieval process. When something happens in the present, the agent's system searches through this memory stream for the most relevant past events, factoring in recency, importance, and relevance. It's like having a built-in search engine that decides which memories should shape the agent's immediate behavior. This ensures that if John meets someone from yesterday's argument, he's more likely to recall that event than some random, trivial memory from weeks ago. Now, how do these memories turn into actions? Inside the system, the agent's inner thoughts are generated in natural language, which are then translated into actions in the virtual environment. If John decides to walk in the park, the system logs that internally, John Lin is walking in Johnson Park, and his avatar then moves accordingly on screen. One of the most mind-blowing aspects is the emergent complexity. The researchers didn't program these agents to act out elaborate plots. Instead, simple rules and memory-driven behavior produce surprisingly rich, spontaneous outcomes. Agents share information, spread gossip, form relationships, and even create social networks that become increasingly interconnected over time. A great example of emergent behavior is when an agent named Sam Moore decided to run for mayor. Initially, it was just an idea in his memory stream. But as Sam interacted with others and mentioned his political ambitions, word spread throughout Smallville. Soon, the entire town was buzzing about the upcoming election, all without any direct instructions from the researchers. Another remarkable scenario is the Valentine's Day party. Isabella Rodriguez, John Lin's wife, wanted to host a party. Instead of scripting the details, the researchers simply planted the intention. The agents, driven by their memories and social ties, coordinated the event on their own. They invited guests who actually showed up at the right time, interacted in ways consistent with their personalities, and even extended invitations to others. This one event created new relationships, strengthened existing ones, and influenced how the community evolved, just like a real social gathering would. Of course, no system is perfect. The researchers noted limitations, like agents sometimes making illogical choices, having lunch at a bar instead of a cafe, or speaking in ways that felt a bit too formal or polite. These quirks highlight the challenge of encoding human common sense and the nuances of language into AI-driven simulations. To understand how these agents achieve their complexity, consider the system architecture built around three key components: memory, reflection, and planning. We've discussed memory, the detailed logs of experiences. Reflection is the agent's process of analyzing these memories to extract meaning and insights. For example, if an agent repeatedly visits the library, it might reflect. This agent enjoys quiet spaces and values learning. This reflection is then recorded and influences the agent's future behavior, giving it something akin to a persistent personality. Planning involves setting goals and breaking them down into manageable steps. Instead of a rigid script, agents create hierarchical plans that can be adjusted on the fly if something unexpected happens. They aren't just reacting, they're proactively shaping their days and adapting to change, much like we do. This combination, deep memory, reflective insights, and flexible planning, results in agents that don't feel robotic or predictable. Their actions feel organic and emergent, which brings us to the question: what can we do with this technology? The applications are enormous. In design, generative agents can simulate how people might interact in a proposed urban space. Before constructing a new neighborhood, we could run a simulation and see where social bottlenecks form or how people gravitate towards certain areas, guiding better urban planning. In virtual environments like video games or VR worlds, these agents could create immersive experiences where non-player characters feel alive, with their own backstories, relationships, and evolving narratives. They're also valuable for social science research. Instead of running large-scale, expensive, and ethically complex real-world studies, researchers could test hypotheses in a simulated environment where generative agents model human-like behaviors. These simulations could help us understand social dynamics, information spread, and the impact of different policies or interventions. From entertainment to education, urban planning to scientific inquiry, generative agents open doors to more engaging, realistic, and useful simulations of human-like societies. Yet, along with the excitement comes responsibility. We must ensure transparency, fairness, and alignment with human values. We have to consider how much autonomy we grant these agents, what data we train them on, and how to prevent harmful biases from creeping in. In short, we are at the cusp of a technological revolution. Generative agents blur the lines between real and virtual, offering tools to learn, design, entertain, and understand. As we navigate this new landscape, we have a chance to shape a future where AI complements and elevates human creativity, insight, and well-being. It's both exhilarating and a bit daunting, but one thing is certain: we're witnessing the birth of a new era in artificial intelligence.